Rock and roll may live forever, but we only retire once. Kevin Lamour of Our Financial Plans and Quadris Investment Services offers a large range of financial solutions from some of the biggest leaders in the investment and insurance landscape of Canada. See how a solid financial plan built with friendly and professional advice can help. Find out more at ourfinancialplans.ca or give them a call at 705-949-1316. How are you doing? Brian Tremblay here with another episode of the Lonesome Cowboy Podcast. And today I have a lady who is the Executive Director of MMF, which I am a member of, a proud member of actually. And this is the Executive Director, Amie Therrien. Hi, Amie.
Hi, Brian. How's it going?
Very good. Thank you for coming on the program.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So tell me, how did you get involved with MMF?
Um, this can be a long-ish story. Let me go back. So my training was as a civil engineer.
Wow.
So I got a degree in civil engineering because I had good marks in math and science, and that seemed like the smart path to go. And, it was a degree that took a lot of effort. So when I left school, I thought, I guess, fine, I should work as a civil engineer. So that's what I did. And it was fine. But I wasn't passionate about it. And then speaking with a friend who had been working with a friend's band, managing them kind of on the side, they suggested that my expertise, my talents with civil engineering, sort of project management and organization, if I wanted to work in music, management would be a good fit. That could be the role. And so I just said, okay. And I went to Staples and I made some business cards that said Amie Therrien, artist manager. And I went to an event called Indie Week that was here in Toronto, and thought, I'm just going to hand out these cards and I'm going to start managing bands. And I ended up meeting a band, seeing them perform during this event. I only ended up handing out one card, and we started to work together. We were kind of in the same page. Like we were, they were good at their craft, but neither of us really had the business and industry knowledge. And so I thought, well, do you want an extra person who will help you on the business side? I'll focus on that, and you can focus on performing and songwriting and, the things that you need to do. And so, yeah, we kind of started working together.
Cool.
And then I discovered Music Managers Forum Canada and figured, well, I guess I'm wanting to be a manager, so I should join this organization that's for managers. So
Nice.
I joined it, and I just often, seem to look at what's the next step? What's the next step? So I thought, well, maybe I'll see if I can be on the board of directors as the next step, from a member to being on the board. And I got onto the board, and as a board member, we were deciding how to grow the presence of the organization. And so we had decided that we would hire someone to run it. Someone who, would be the face of the organization, be there full time rather than our volunteer board members who are all running management businesses. There's limited time to really try and grow the organization and serve our community of managers.
Yeah, sure.
And so after that board meeting, I thought, oh, wait, I want to do that job. I want to take what I've built, take the networks I've got and the information that I've learned, and kind of apply it in this slightly different way to now kind of serve my community in a role. So yeah, I left the board, I applied for the job, and was selected. And so I've been there for about 7 years now, helping to grow things and helping to serve our community of self-managed artists and music managers.
Outstanding. And you know what's more the most impressive for me is you did it the old school way. You came up from the inside, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, and you learned it and that kind of stuff. So let me go off on the tangent of your music management career. Is it still going, or have you just shifted to 100% full time for MMF?
Yeah, it's 100% full time for MMF. So when I accepted the role, I wound down my company and the artists that I was working with.
Oh,
So
that's cool. That's very cool.
yeah,
Yeah, that's super cool, and I bet you they were all happy for you moving on to being making a difference and from the inside like that. I bet.
hopefully also just a little disappointed that we weren't going to get to work together in that
Yeah,
capacity anymore.
yeah. Amie, well. By the way, I want to make this statement, folks. If you haven't put two and two together yet, you civil engineers out there that are wondering if you have some musical feelings that you want to get into, it appears management is the place for you to be. Civil engineer to music management, and it totally makes sense because I got a couple of friends who are engineers, and that's exactly what they would be. Guys who can
Mhm.
pay attention to detail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how many artists did you have in your roster at one time, Amy?
I had three artists on my roster that I was managing, although I only had one for the longest time, and it really felt like I don't know how people can have more than one. I mean, as an artist yourself, the work that you can do is unlimited.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, there were lots of lessons to be learned about, again, kind of engineering speak, but like clarifying scope, setting boundaries, and just really like you have to be clear on who's doing what and what you're doing
Yeah.
because you can spend more than 24/7 if it existed on one artist's career.
There you go. So my one civil engineer friend, he has the pinky ring. Do you have the pinky ring?
Yeah,
Oh, no, you don't have it on,
I
but you have it.
I took mine off a few years ago,
Oh,
weirdly. I
really?
kept it
Okay.
on for the longest time.
Yeah.
Because, I worked hard and it was still a cool thing to,
Mm-hmm.
recognize other people and have
Mm-hmm.
a conversation starter.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see it. My camera's not good enough, but I do still have
Oh, okay. A little
the
discoloration
indent.
there.
The indent is still there, but I don't have a high-res camera here. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know what it was. One day I just thought, you know what? It was a long journey. I still did some consulting work as I was starting managing.
Good stuff.
So
Yeah.
temporary kind of contract stuff, and then kept my license for a while because you have to pay
Sure.
annual fees to keep that. And I
Yeah.
thought, well, I'll keep that. I'll keep that. And then a few years in, I was like, you know what? No.
Yeah. You haven't
Like
got.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't see myself going back. And I had to drive up to North York to present them my stamp and I don't know, I guess they just destroy it
Yeah.
because
Who
no one
knows,
else
huh?
can use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I returned it and stopped paying. And I think it was still even a few years after
There you
that where
are. Yeah.
I'm going to take this ring off.
There you
I,
go.
I
So
don't know.
we're not going to get into the story of this pinky ring if you folks listening are not familiar. Just Google it, sing civil engineer pinky ring. You'll learn all about it and why they wear it and the whole deal. So you came from the inside with MMF, and it started without an executive director. So what's the origins of MMF in regards to, was it just like a bunch of music managers say, hey, let's get together and give this a shot kind of thing and see if we can organize?
Pretty much. We had our 25th anniversary a few years ago,
Oh,
and
cool.
there's a little video on our YouTube page talking with some of the founders, so some of the managers that created the organization. And there are music managers forums, and some of them have slightly different names, but all around the world. And these managers heard about this group in the UK. There was, I think they still have to this day, the Artist and Managers Awards. And so one of the Canadian managers came back and was like, huh, we should be getting together, we should be sharing info, getting insight on deals and, things that, are going to make us stronger. And so they shared that it essentially started maybe meeting at a pub or whatever, um, every month or every other month and just sharing information and what was going on, and then started to grow from there. So a few years after that, they incorporated. And so some of the objectives at that point were to sort of create um, standards for the industry,
Sure. Hmm.
to, create means to share knowledge and to just strengthen the sector. And so they ran with that for a long time, doing all that they could, maybe applying for some grants to do some programs, speak at conferences, and to kind of keep raising the awareness of management. And also sometimes hiring part-time contractors to help run some of the events. And yeah, then, like I said, when I was on the board, we thought, okay, we really need someone to take ownership of
Yeah,
this
that's
and
awesome.
help it grow. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's been a long standing kind of community, for almost 30 years now.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, tell me all about your Billboard Award, Amy. I just saw that. Congrats, by the
Uh,
way.
yeah, well, thank you. Well, Billboard Canada has been working hard to recognize folks in the industry. We've worked with them earlier this year. Yeah, just this year. Wow. Okay. I was like, that must have been long ago, but just back in the summer, they brought the Managers to Watch program up to Canada, and we partnered with them for our annual Honor Roll Awards and just did a big, beautiful celebration of managers with them.
Cool.
And they've also brought um, just recently 40 Billboard Canada 40 under 40. And then where I was recognized was their Billboard Canada Women in Music. And so this is something that's done in the US and maybe in other countries as well. And again, they've brought it here to Canada. I think just this was the second year. So it was really, really an honor to be recognized for the work we're doing at MMF. Most of our leadership is female as well as myself. And we working hard to just build that community where everybody is welcome to come and learn and thrive and grow. And so, really lovely to be recognized with other women all across the industry and all kinds of roles that are making, contributions to a better, stronger, thriving, equitable
Mm-hmm.
music industry. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
really
awesome.
beautiful night to share,
Yeah.
with those other folks.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, and couldn't have given it to a better person, if you ask me. Because
Nothing.
I know we've only met recently, but I got to tell you, I sing the praises of MMF wherever I go.
Oh, I love that. I appreciate that.
I,
And I mean, I'm
I,
glad that it's something that you're finding useful, right? I kind of
yeah,
hope that what we're doing it does sort of, I guess, not speak for itself because you're speaking on our behalf, but something that's just it's there, it's useful, and finding the audience of people who need that.
yeah. If you listen to my episodes between the time I went to the Folk Canada conference and now,
Mm.
I pretty much bring up MMF every episode.
Oh, delightful.
MMF and Folk Canada.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell them. I brought it up even on Matt Gower from his Hard Folk that he has in Ottawa. There, he interviewed me and came up there again too.
Wonderful.
Well, that and Folk Canada, I think, and I think MMF is going to be one of those organizations that is going to be really one of those ones I'm going to hold dear to my heart. That it's like, okay, doesn't matter what else I spend my money on, I got to do that, you know,
Mm.
and that's all there is to it for that kind of stuff. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And you are a super leader. I think you're like a superhero leader because you are even president of the Toronto, York, and Métis Council.
Yes, that's
Wow,
right.
you're spreading Amy everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I can't remember, maybe I already shared this with you, but I was also president of the board at Folk Canada before it was called Folk Canada for a number of
Oh
years.
no, really? That's
And
cool.
yeah, I was heavily involved there. That was the first conference I ever went to as a newbie in the industry. And
No
so
kidding.
similar to you, it's the one that's near and dear to my heart. I spent 9 years, 3 terms on the board. Um,
Good for you.
and and that takes up a lot of time. And so when I decided to leave the board, because just, 9 years is a long time, always good to have fresh leadership.
Yeah.
Um, I had some space open apparently, and so I wanted to get more involved with the Métis community here
Yep.
in the Toronto area. And so our local council, does a lot of great work to bring the community together. We can share in culture, and um, I thought there was an opening to be secretary last year, and I thought, yeah, that's in my wheelhouse, as we talked about being organized and all that kind of thing. So I thought, all right, this is my in, I'll give it a go. And then we had elections this past summer, and I thought, okay, the folks weren't returning in those roles. And so I put my hand up to be president of the council. And so now I'm working alongside a lot of wonderful people in my community and working on programs and events and initiatives to bring together our community. So it's
Really.
again a lot of work, but it is really
Yeah.
lovely and
Yeah.
something that I really do find fulfilling.
Couldn't have found a better person for the job. That's for sure. And yeah, that's fantastic that you're just you're the one. You can just point the way for folks. I think that's great. Um, Now I notice your earrings that you're wearing. Is that an example of some beadwork that I see you had you do?
Yeah, that's true.
Nice, very
These are a pair
beautiful.
of earrings that I've made. Thank you very much. And yeah, I actually learned through the council. That's one of the programs they'd been doing before I was involved. And during the pandemic, there were a lot of online events to still bring us together as best we
Hmm.
could when we were in lockdowns. And yeah, I thought, I'm going to sign up for all the different things, and beating reading really stuck. I've in the past knit a pair of mittens, one pair of socks, have maybe embroidered one thing, crocheted a little thing, and it's like, all right, I did it, and I don't need to do it again necessarily. But yeah, beading kind of stuck. So I've been making earrings, selling them
Good stuff.
at events and
Nice.
selling them to friends. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's been fun. It's a really nice creative outlet
Yeah.
for me.
There's something about meditative, I think, about that. Hey, it's a Zen kind of thing. You're just in the moment because you're just doing a repetitive task. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also even just the finished product, like, wow, I created that.
Yeah. No kidding.
Like similar as a musician, if
Yeah.
you create a song or recording, it's like, wow, that didn't exist before and I made it exist.
There you go. So, from the roundtable session that you had at Folk Canada this year,
Mm.
which is where I bumped into you, and how we've come to this, what was the biggest question that came up from all the delegates that were coming through there? Was there a common one that was like, "Oh yeah, here comes this again,"
Oh my gosh.
or
You're
maybe
asking me to
not?
go back months. Yeah, I mean, I think that what is often a question people want to discuss is just how are you doing this?
Yeah. How do you do it,
Like
right?
how are you making a living at it? How are you managing your time? How do I get gigs? How do I book tours, right? Which I think is still all related to
Yeah.
how do we manage our time? What are the revenue streams that make
Yeah.
sense? We
Yeah.
want to make this make a living at this. Yeah, really seems to be where everyone is finding challenges, and also where sharing information is really useful, right? Like you're maybe going to release an album a year or not, or, fewer than that, or you're going to do, a few shows here and there. But if you've got the collective wisdom of a group of people who are doing that, then, you can learn
Hmm.
from everybody's information, everybody's experience. And kind of gather more info than you could on your own. more quickly anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so what's with the MMF right now in general? What's the biggest issue that they're working on and trying to keep it going in the forefront?
I mean, I think in general, it's not necessarily an advocacy type issue, but it's just building community
Yeah,
is
good
kind
point.
of our main um, goal. It's kind of our guiding light right now.
Good point.
So being at events and, having our meetups that are online. We've got a WhatsApp group for folks to share and chat, having mentorship programs and different things where, yeah, people are able to connect because and we do have online resources and an extensive library there,
Yes.
and that's great and that's necessary. But I think nothing beats having a trusted group of colleagues, that you can go to. So it's like, yeah, you're still going to watch the video of this expert telling you how to do this thing, but nothing beats going to that group and saying, how do you do this? Like the video said that, but
Yeah.
I want your real world experience from someone who's in the trenches with me. And sometimes that's hard to ask unless you feel like you've got this safe space, this community,
Yeah, I agree.
where you can feel free to ask.
Hmm. So let's say someone joins up, and I was taken aback by all the resources, and this is why I want you to tell folks. I was taken aback. Like I said, if someone was to take out a new membership with MMF, tell us about all the great things that you have waiting for them.
Definitely. Yeah, we've been building up our resource library over the last few years. So, really started again during lockdowns. We were having lots of webinars and information sessions because people were home and had time to, dig into their career and learn about things maybe they weren't as familiar with. So we were recording all of those webinars and, had them in our member portal. And then we actually were lucky enough to secure some funding to create additional custom resources where we went to experts in the industry on various topics and asked them to make us short videos answering some questions about their topic of expertise. And so now we've got over 100 videos, some, like I said, webinars, some shorter videos on topics all across the industry, because as artists and as managers, you need to be aware of everything. You're not going to be an expert in everything, but at least if you have that awareness and you maybe hire someone or partner with someone, you should at least know that you might need someone to help you do that. And then if you have that person to be able to know what they're doing, and just kind of supervise how they're supporting your career is important. We've also got accompanying document resources. So some of them are, say, the slide deck or a quick reference guide from a webinar presenter, perhaps. But then there's also some great custom templates, so sheets to help you track your merch, to help track on the road your sales, a number of different legal agreements with commentary from lawyers. So you can go clause by clause and see what the clause could look like, and then read below, what that means or what options to look out for or consider. So yeah, I mean, there's still room to grow and additional resources that could be useful, but I think it's a pretty healthy starting place for anyone that wants to dig in and focus on learning a certain aspect of the industry. You'll probably find some videos or webinars or documents that can help support that. And I think it's great because there are resources online as well that you can get anywhere, a number of good ones, but also a number of not so good ones. And so there's a lot of wading through what you might find in an online search, whereas hopefully folks are trusting what we're putting has been curated, and thoughtfully organized, and to make sure that it's relevant to folks now. I mean, some of it is was timely, so there are some webinars around COVID and coming back to touring that are maybe less relevant today, but otherwise, it's sort of a trusted source of industry information.
Hmm. And hey, folks, they also have great little discounts and stuff like that too. And something I discovered from MMF is earshot.
Mm.
Fantastic, by the way. Never thought I could actually put it in the hands of radio, but this is fantastic, man. And MMF will give you a nice little discount code too, because you have to pay as you go, so which is a cool part about it. So yeah, there are other great little resources in there, man. You have one called Roster, which is a directory, and you can get a discount code for that too, so you can find out who's the who and where to find them and contact them. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
they
a
have tons of resources for you folks, that's for sure. Um, so what's on the horizon for MMF? Anything coming down the pipe
yes.
that you can tell us about, that is?
Absolutely. Yeah. A big project that I'm really excited about is the first ever study of music management in Canada.
Oh, really?
Um, there have been, I mean, there's a number of music industry studies around the live music sector, around, how artists are getting paid, around the involvement of BIPOC folks. And those have been really useful and instrumental in strengthening the industry. But there hasn't been one specifically looking at managers and the role of managers. And there have been some out of the UK and Australia, which have been really fascinating. Um, the one out of Australia um, looked at the role of managers and was able to conclude that for every dollar invested in management, and so that includes, commissions paid to managers as well, there was a $20 social return on investment. So it just sort of helps everything else go more smoothly when you've got that project manager essentially making sure all of the pieces are moving together the way they're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
The UK has just recently released a study using that same model, and we're just wading in to doing our first, which is going to be around just the state of music management in Canada. Who are we? What do our businesses look like? How big are they? What's the work that we're doing? What's the work we're not doing? How much money are we making? What are our business models? And then from there, we're looking at doing the second phase, which would be calculating the value that
Uh-huh.
managers add to the ecosystem. So that should be a really useful tool to talk about what we all sort of know anecdotally and what we share, but rather than having to say, oh, just, listen to Amie, it'll be, hey, look at all the data that we've collected. It's saying this
There
too.
you go. You see, I like civil engineers. It's data. It's about data. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's good evidence, kind of thing, folks. MMF Canada is all you really got to look for, and to search them, they're available on all the socials and all that fun stuff. Am I missing out any other way they can get a hold of you, Mamie?
Yeah, website, social media. Folks can sign up for our newsletter if you go to our website, mmfcanada.ca. I think it'll be at the footer of every page that you can subscribe, or maybe it's on our contact page,
Uh-huh.
and you can find out what we've got coming up and yeah, learn more about us there.
Folks, let me just give you the unsolicited endorsement. You should be spending money on a membership to MMF Canada and Folk Canada minimum, because these folks are above board, full of resources, and here's the other cool part: there's a real person who'll actually answer you, like Amie, and you got people like Joel at Folk Canada and Roz. They're just fantastic. So spend your money there. Forget the gear. You need this more than anything else. I don't know. Can I get a better endorsement than that, Amie? What do you think?
That sounds amazing, Brian. I appreciate it truly, and it's always lovely to connect with folks who are, benefiting from the work we're doing. It's why I'm here. It's why I do what I do. So thank you again.
And on that note, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.